Welcome to the Curious Room.
It's great to be here.
I want you to come in, take a metaphorical coat off, and just stop for a second.
Just take a breath.
Exactly. We spend so much of our lives sprinting, don't we?
Right.
Rushing from the email to the meeting to the grocery store, constantly checking the time, constantly checking the screen.
Always on the go.
But here, inside this room, we don't sprint. We sit.
And it feels necessary.
It really does. I want you to imagine this space is warm. The lighting is low, that amber kind of light that makes your shoulders drop about 2 inches the moment you step into it.
That perfect lighting.
Yeah. And the chair you are sitting in is that perfect kind of soft leather, worn in just the right places that just holds you.
A safe space.
It is quiet here. The noise of the traffic outside, the notifications pinging on your phone, the rush of your to-do list, all of that is locked on the other side of the heavy oak door.
We're hitting the pause button on a world that is spinning a little too fast.
In here, we just have space. Space to think, space to feel.
And I think that is exactly the right atmosphere for what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Because the topic we have on the table isn't about noise.
No, it's not.
It is about silence. And it is about the space between people.
Absolutely.
Today, I want to talk directly to you, the listener. I want to ask you to do something for me before we even dive in.
A little exercise.
Right. I want you to close your eyes for just a second if you can. I mean, if you are driving or operating heavy machinery, obviously keep them open. Safety first.
Definitely keep your eyes on the road.
But if you can, close them. Take a breath. And I want you to visualize a person.
A specific person, not a crowd, not an idea of a person, one specific human being.
Yes, exactly. Someone you are close to, someone you care about deeply, but someone who is currently far away.
Maybe it is a partner who is traveling for work.
Or a best friend who moved away a few years ago. Maybe a parent or a sibling you haven't seen in 6 months. Bring them into your mind right now.
Picture their face. And not a photo of them you saw on Instagram, but their actual moving face. The way it creases when they are confused.
Yeah, the way they smile when they think something is actually funny, not just being polite.
And now as you hold that image, I want you to notice the feeling that comes up in your chest.
It is a very specific feeling.
It really is, isn't it? It is not just missing them. It is way more complex than that. It is a mix of love, sure, warmth, absolutely. But there is also this slight ache.
Attention.
Attention, yeah. A feeling that things are slightly different than they used to be, or maybe just a fear that they're different.
That is the feeling we're exploring today.
The core of it.
Exactly. We aren't going to look at maps. We aren't going to talk about how many miles are between you or how long the flight takes.
Right, no logistics.
No logistics or time zones or which video calling app has the best resolution.
Mm-hmm.
We are exploring the heart of distance.
The heart of distance. I love that phrasing. Because usually when people talk about long-distance relationships or friendships, they focus on the struggle.
The practicalities.
Yeah, they talk about the cost of plane tickets or the sleep deprivation or the bad internet connections. But we want to go deeper.
We want to understand the mechanics of the disconnect.
Why does being in a different place make us feel like different people to each other?
It is a fascinating question because it touches on psychology, sociology, and just raw biology.
But we're keeping it simple today.
Very simple. We don't need big academic theories or psychological jargon to understand this. We just need to look at the human experience.
The everyday stuff.
We want to look at the small examples, the real feelings, and those gentle reflections that we often push aside because we're too busy trying to just make it work.
Right. We're going to unpack this slowly. We have the time. So let us start at the very beginning. The nature of distance itself.
What is it, really?
When we say distance in a relationship, what are we actually talking about? Because as we said, it's not just miles. You can feel distant from someone sitting right next to you.
Oh, certainly. That is perhaps the loneliest feeling in the world. Sitting on a sofa next to someone and feeling like they're a million miles away.
Totally.
But the distance we are talking about today is that physical separation that creates a shift in how we relate to one another. It's the physics of absence.
It is the empty space in the room. I think that is the visceral part of it.
The physical void.
Yes, the silence where a voice used to be. It is walking into the kitchen and expecting someone to be standing by the kettle, and they just aren't there.
That is a very powerful image. The silence where a voice used to be. You know, to really understand this, I like to use an analogy.
Okay, let's hear it.
I like to think of a relationship like a melody, like a piece of music being played by two people.
Like a duet. Or a band jamming.
Exactly, a duet. Think of two musicians improvising together. When you are physically together with someone, sharing a life, sharing an apartment, or even just spending a long weekend together, you're playing that music in sync.
You're in the same room.
You're in the same room, hearing the same beat.
Wow.
You are harmonizing.
Right. You can see their hands moving. If they speed up, you speed up. If they get quiet, you get quiet. You are completely locked in.
Precisely. You are responding to each other in real time. It is immediate. There is zero latency.
But distance changes that.
Distance introduces a delay. It is like trying to play a duet with someone, but their sound is coming through a few seconds late, or maybe a few days late.
That is such a good way to visualize it, because even if you are texting instantly, or even if you are on a video call and the connection is perfect, there is still a delay in the life rhythm.
The emotional rhythm is out of sync.
You aren't experiencing the same moment at the same time.
Exactly. Think about the emotional rhythm. You might be playing a fast, upbeat allegro because you just had a great coffee, the sun is shining, and you got a promotion at work.
You are buzzing.
You are buzzing. But your partner or your friend, they might be playing a slow, sad adagio because it is raining where they are tired, and they just had a fight with a neighbor. The music clashes.
And when you try to play together in that moment, it sounds dissonant.
It creates friction. The rhythm is off. You are high energy, they are low energy, and because you aren't in the room to read the body language, you miss the cue to slow down.
And that changes the texture of the relationship, doesn't it? It doesn't mean the song stops. The relationship isn't dead, but it sounds different. It feels clunky.
It feels disjointed, and that disjointed feeling is what causes the anxiety. We feel the rhythm break, and we interpret it as something is wrong between us or we are losing our spark, when really it is just the lag.
It is the latency of life.
The latency of life, that is exactly it.
Let us dig into that texture a bit more, because I think what really hurts, or what feels the most different, isn't the lack of big conversations.
No, it rarely is.
We can still have deep talks on the phone. We can still say, I love you. It is the loss of the little things.
Micro interactions. The dark matter of a relationship.
Dark matter? That sounds a little mysterious.
Well, you know, in physics, dark matter is the stuff you cannot see, but it makes up most of the universe and it holds everything together. Micro interactions are the dark matter of love. We tend to think relationships are built on the big dates, the anniversaries, the grand gestures, the deep heart-to-heart talks at 2 in the morning where you solve all the world's problems.
The movie moments, the stuff that gets posted on social media.
Yes, the cinematic moments. And those are important, sure. They are like the pillars of the house.
But the rest of the house?
The walls, the floor, the roof that keeps the rain out, that is built on the tiny moments that are so small you don't even remember them 5 minutes later.
Give me some examples of that. What are we missing when we are apart? What are these bricks?
Think about making coffee. Imagine you are in the kitchen on a Sunday morning. You pour a cup. You pour a second cup. You walk into the living room and hand it to your person.
A completely ordinary moment.
You don't ask if they want it. You just know how they take it. They take it, maybe they grunt a little thanks without looking up from their book. That entire moment took 10 seconds.
Yeah.
No significant words were spoken.
It sounds like nothing. I mean, if you wrote that in a diary, it would be the most boring entry ever.
It sounds like nothing. But physiologically, that moment screams safety. It says, I know you. I anticipate your needs. I am here in your space. You are not alone.
It grounds you.
It regulates your nervous system. It lowers your cortisol. It creates a baseline of we are okay.
And when distance happens, that just evaporates. You cannot make someone coffee over a video call. You cannot hand them a warm mug through a text message.
You can send a text that says, I hope you have good coffee this morning, or send a digital gift card, but it is not the same. It is a sentiment, not an action.
It is an idea.
It is a thought, not a shared reality. You have moved from doing love to describing love.
Doing love versus describing love, wow, that hits hard. That is a massive shift. You go from being an active participant in their day to being a commentator on their day.
Precisely, and that shift is exhausting over time.
Another one that gets me is this shared look. You know when you are at a party or even just watching TV and something weird happens?
Oh, absolutely.
Or someone says something ridiculous on a show, and you just instinctively look at your partner or your best friend.
They are already looking at you.
Yes, they are already looking at you with that exact same expression. It is a secret language. It is telepathy almost.
That is a profound form of intimacy. It is validation. It says, I see the world the way you see it.
It confirms you aren't crazy.
It confirms your reality. It says, yes, that was weird, and I am right here with you in the weirdness. When you are apart, you lose that immediate validation. You see something funny, you look to your side, and no one is there.
Ooh, yeah. That physical looking to the side and seeing empty space, that is the visceral ache we talked about at the start. It is a muscle memory that betrays you.
And think about what happens next. You have to pick up your phone, you have to unlock it, you have to open the app, you have to type out, oh my gosh, this guy at the store just did the funniest thing, and then you hit send.
And then you wait.
And then you wait. Maybe they reply in 5 minutes, maybe 5 hours. The moment has completely passed.
The spark is gone.
The energy has dissipated. The shared laughter is gone. You are sharing a report of the laughter, not the laughter itself.
That is a huge distinction. It makes the relationship feel retroactive, like everything is in the past tense. I was laughing. I saw this. Nothing is. We are laughing right now.
Exactly. And I think there's also something to be said about the comfort of just doing nothing together. The concept of parallel play.
Right. Sitting on the same sofa. I am reading a book. You're scrolling on your phone. We aren't talking. We aren't touching. But I can hear you breathing. I can feel the weight of you on the cushion.
That is arguably the highest form of comfort. To be completely yourself in your own head, but anchored by another person's presence. It is being alone together.
It is zero pressure.
It implies a total lack of pressure. When distance separates you, you lose the ability to be alone together.
Because digital communication requires activity.
Precisely. If you are on the phone, you feel like you have to talk. If you are on video, you feel like you have to perform or look directly at the camera. You cannot just be. You cannot text a comforting silence.
No, you really can't. If you stop texting, the other person thinks you are busy or angry. Silence in a digital format feels like rejection or absence.
It causes panic.
But silence in a physical room feels like peace. That is a fundamental shift in how we relate.
It is tragic in a quiet way. Because we often don't realize how much we rely on those moments until they are gone. We think, oh, we will be fine. We can talk on the phone every day.
But talking isn't the whole relationship.
We forget that 90% of our relationship wasn't talking. It was just existing in the same space. We try to replace presence with communication. Yeah. And they are not the same currency. You cannot exchange one for the other at a fair rate.
That leads us perfectly into the next trap. Because when we realize we cannot just exist together, we try to compensate. We try to fill the void with information. We fall into what we call the update trap.
The shift from living together to reporting to each other.
It happens so subtly. You move away, and suddenly every conversation starts with, how was your day? What did you do?
And the answer is usually a list. I woke up. I went to work. The meeting was boring. I had a salad for lunch. It was okay. I came home. Now I am talking to you.
It sounds like a police report or a testimony in court. State your movements for the record.
It really does. It is factual. It is accurate.
Yeah.
But it is not connecting. When you live with someone, you don't usually give them a chronological list of your movements.
Well, you skip the boring stuff.
You walk in the door and say, my boss was wearing that terrible tie again. Or, you won't believe the dog I saw. You dive right into the texture, the emotion, the funny detail. You skip the logistics entirely.
Why do we stop doing that when we are apart? Why do we default to the list?
Because without the shared context, without the shared environment, we feel the need to catch them up on the narrative. We feel like they need all the plot points to understand the story.
We want to give them the full picture.
But in doing so, we strip away the emotion. Summaries are efficient, but they are dry. They lack the messy, funny, boring parts of life that actually make us feel close.
It is like reading the summary of a movie on a website versus actually watching the movie. You know what happened. You know the hero defeated the villain, but you didn't feel the suspense.
You missed the experience.
You didn't see the lighting. You didn't hear the score swell at the right moment.
Exactly. And this creates a weird distance. You start to feel like you know what the person is doing, but you don't know how they are feeling. The relationship becomes a series of bullet points. And let us be honest, most of our days are pretty boring.
So true. If I list my day, it is incredibly boring. But if I am living my day with you, we can make fun of the boredom together. We can laugh at the absurdity of that boring meeting.
Correct. And then, because we are relying on these updates, we introduce the burden of scheduling, the scheduled call.
Ah, yes, the 7 p.m. appointment.
It sounds like a business meeting. I have a call with my partner at 1900 hours. When you live close, conversation is fluid. You talk when you feel like it. You talk when something happens. Or you talk just because you walked into the same room.
It is totally organic.
It follows your natural energy levels.
But when you are long distance, you have to carve out time. We will talk tonight at 7. But what if I am just exhausted at 7? What if I had a terrible day and I just want to stare at the wall and not speak to a single soul?
Or, conversely, what if absolutely nothing happened that day?
Yeah.
What if you have nothing to say?
Yes. The pressure to perform. You get on the call and there's this silence and you feel guilty. You think, we only have this 1 hour. We have to make it count. We have to be bonding. We have to be meaningful.
That pressure transforms the relationship from a sanctuary into a task. It becomes something on your to-do list right next to laundry and grocery shopping.
Call partner. Check.
And once love feels like work, well, the dynamic shifts again.
Yeah.
You might start to resent the call, even if you deeply love the person.
That is a scary thought, resenting the connection because of the rigid structure of it.
It is a very common feeling, and it brings immense guilt. You think, I love this person. Why am I dreading picking up the phone? But you aren't dreading the person. You are dreading the format.
The performance of it.
You are dreading the obligation of having to be on when you might feel off. You are dreading the interrogation of, what did you do today? When the answer is nothing.
It is like having to host a talk show every night, starring yourself for an audience of one.
That is a perfect description.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to be a talk show host when they have the flu or when they're just feeling quiet.
So we have the loss of small moments, that dark matter we talked about. We have this update trap where conversation becomes a chore. But there's something else happening in the background, isn't there? Something slower and maybe a lot deeper. We're drifting.
Drifting is a very good word. Or perhaps context collapse. Or, to use a more organic metaphor, growing in different gardens.
Growing in different gardens. I really like the sound of that, but it implies a pretty big separation. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, we like to think we are entirely consistent people, that I am who I am, regardless of where I happen to be standing. But that isn't really true. We are biological creatures. We're incredibly adaptive. We are shaped by our environment.
The space around us changes us.
We are shaped by where we are right now.
Environmental psychology, basically.
Exactly. The weather affects your mood. If it is raining for a week straight, you are a slightly different version of yourself than if it is sunny and warm. The food you eat affects your energy. The noise of the street outside your window affects your stress levels.
The political climate of the city you are in.
The people you meet. The new coffee shop you found. The slang everyone is using around you.
Yes, all of that. This is what we call context.
Your context is everything that surrounds you. When you are together with someone, you share a context. You are both cold when the heating breaks in the apartment. You both smell the toast burning in the kitchen. You both hear the neighbor's dog barking at midnight.
You are in the same boat, riding the exact same waves. If the boat rocks, you both wobble.
Yes, but when you separate, you step into two completely different boats. Or, to use the garden analogy, imagine two trees planted right next to each other. Their roots are tangled underground, their branches touch and interweave, they share the same soil, the same rain, the same sun.
They grow together. They actually shape each other.
They do. Now imagine you dig one up and move it to a different climate entirely. Maybe a place with way more wind, maybe different soil, rockier, harder. That tree is going to continue to grow, but it will grow differently.
It has to adapt.
It might grow thicker bark to protect against the wind. It might grow leaves in a different direction to catch the sun from a new angle. It might become a lot tougher.
And the other tree, the one that stayed behind in the original garden, is also continuing to grow, but in its own way. Maybe it spreads out more because it suddenly has more space.
Precisely. Neither tree is stopping. Life doesn't pause just because you are apart, but they are no longer reacting to the same stimuli. So over time, the shape of the trees changes. They become different versions of themselves.
And that creates a disconnect, doesn't it? Because the person I am talking to on the phone, they sound like my person. They look like my person on the screen. But they are slowly being shaped by a world I am not part of.
And you are being shaped by a world they are not part of. This is where the phrase, "you had to be there," becomes a heartbreaking reality.
Oh, I hate that phrase in this context. It is so frustrating.
It is the unofficial slogan of long distance.
It really is. You try to tell a story about something that happened at work, maybe a coworker, let us call him Dave, made a joke, and you tell it to your partner on the phone, and you are laughing, you have tears in your eyes, and on the other end of the line, just silence, or a very polite, "Ha, that is funny."
Because they don't know Dave. They don't know the tone of the office. They don't know the backstory of why the joke landed so perfectly. They lack the context.
And you feel this sudden, sharp pang of loneliness. It is almost physical. You realize They don't get it. They cannot visualize my world.
That is the emotional distance matching the physical distance. It is the sudden realization that your daily life is now a foreign country to them. And that is scary. It makes you feel like strangers, even if you've known each other for 10 years. You realize that your shared reality is shrinking and your individual reality is growing.
It is like you are speaking slightly different dialects of the same language. You understand the words, but you are missing the nuance. You are missing the slang.
And this leads us to how we cope with that gap. Because the human brain is not like gaps. When we cannot see the reality of the person, when we cannot share their context, we start to invent. We use our imagination.
The lens of imagination. This sounds a bit magical, but knowing the human brain, I have a feeling there's a trap here too.
There's a massive trap.
Yeah.
When someone is absent, our brain has to fill in the blanks. We have a memory of them, and we hold on to that memory very tightly. But memory is not a perfect recording device. It is not a video file stored on a hard drive. It is an editor. It is a filter.
We curate the memories. We make a little montage.
We create a highlight reel. Think about it. When you are missing someone desperately, do you sit there thinking about how annoying it is when they chew their food too loudly? Do you think about the dirty socks they always left on the bedroom floor? Do you think about that time they were grumpy for absolutely no reason?
No, definitely not. I think about how they give the best hugs. I think about their laugh. I think about how safe I feel with them. I think about the amazing vacation we took last summer.
Exactly. You filter out the friction. You filter out the annoyance. You idealize them. You polish the memory until it shines. You basically turn them into a saint.
That sounds nice, though. It keeps the love alive. Why is that such a problem?
It is nice in the short term. It acts as an emotional painkiller. But the danger is that you might fall in love with the memory of the person rather than the reality of who they are right now.
Oh, I see. You are loving a ghost or a hologram.
You're loving a perfect version of them that simply does not exist. No human being is perfect. Everyone is annoying sometimes. Everyone has bad moods. But distance removes the daily friction. So when you finally do see them again, or when you have a difficult conversation, you might feel genuinely shocked. You think, wait, why are they being snappy? My person isn't snappy. My person is perfect.
You have set them up to fail because you have built them up into this idol in your head.
Correct. Real relationships are messy. They have grit. Distance removes the grid, which seems good, but it also removes the reality check. It is very important to remember that the person on the other end of the phone is still a human being who gets cranky, who has bad breath sometimes, who forgets things, who is selfish sometimes.
That is such a good reminder. Do not fall in love with the hologram. Love the human, the messy, flawed, real human.
And then there is the flip side of imagination, the much darker side. If one side is idealization, the other side is paranoia, the fear.
The fear of forgetting or being forgotten by them.
It is a primal fear, out of sight, out of mind. It goes all the way back to object permanence. When we are babies, if a toy is hidden under a blanket, we think it is gone forever. As adults, we know the person still exists out there in the world, but emotionally, we panic.
I think we have all felt that. You send a text and they don't reply for 6 hours. And your brain doesn't just say, oh, they're busy at work. Your brain whispers, they don't care anymore. They are forgetting you. They are having fun without you.
And the most painful one, they are building a new life where you simply don't fit.
Yes, that is the one. That hurts the absolute most. The idea that the gap is closing up over there and there is no room for you anymore.
It is a very normal, very human vulnerability. When we are physically present, we get constant reassurance. A touch on the arm, a smile across the room, just seeing them sitting there is data that says, we are okay. When that data is gone, we are starved for reassurance. So silence becomes really loud. Silence becomes dangerous.
We misinterpret silence as not caring.
When usually it is just life getting busy. They're at the grocery store, their phone battery died, they fell asleep on a couch because they were completely exhausted. But because we cannot see them, our imagination fills that silence with our worst insecurities. We write a horror story in our heads.
So we have painted a pretty intense picture here. We have talked about the loss of little moments, the lack of coffee and shared glances. We have talked about the update trap where conversation becomes a boring list of events. We have talked about drifting apart in different gardens. We have talked about the dangers of idealizing and the intense fear of being forgotten. It sounds really hard.
It is hard. Let us not sugarcoat it at all. Distance is stress. It is a massive stress test for any relationship.
But it is not all bad, is it? We aren't here just to depress everyone listening today.
No, certainly not. I think it is crucial to balance this picture. because distance, for all its difficulty, acts as a very powerful filter. There is a silver lining to all of this.
Let us find it. What is the upside of this heartache?
Let us call it clarity through separation.
Okay, unpack that for me. How does being apart actually give us clarity?
Think about a massive, beautiful oil painting in a gallery. If you stand 2 inches away from the canvas, what do you actually see?
I see brushstrokes, maybe a blob of yellow paint, maybe the rough texture of the canvas. I cannot really tell what the picture is. I am way too close.
Exactly. You are lost in the details. You cannot see the forest with the trees. But if you step back, if you put 5 meters of distance between you and the canvas, suddenly the image resolves. You see the composition. You see the light and shadow. You see the meaning of the art.
So distance lets us see the relationship as a whole picture.
It does. When you are in the thick of daily life, you can get bogged down in the routine, the chores, the petty arguments about whose turn it is to walk the dog or who left the dirty dishes in the sink, the general noise of living together. When that is completely stripped away, you are left with the core of the connection.
You stop fighting about the dishes because there are literally no dishes to fight about.
Right. And you start to understand why you love this person. Not just that they are convenient to have around or that they pay half the rent, but that you genuinely value their soul. You realize, I miss their humor. I miss their kindness. I miss their unique perspective on things. You realize what they actually add to your life.
That is beautiful. It separates the habit of the relationship from the heart of the relationship.
Yes. And it teaches us appreciation. This is the biggest lesson of distance by far. It teaches us the immense value of presence. Scarcity creates value.
Oh, absolutely. When you finally do get to see each other, that time is gold.
It is more than gold. It is sacred. You don't waste it scrolling on your phone.
Yeah.
You don't waste it being petty. You are fully present. You soak up every single second. You realize that just sitting on a sofa together is a luxury. People who are together every day often forget that. They take it completely for granted. They sit in the same room and ignore each other. Distance makes you deeply grateful for the boring moments.
That is a huge gift. To be able to look at a boring Tuesday evening, sitting on the couch, eating takeout and say, this is amazing. This is everything.
It recalibrates your gratitude. And there's one more silver lining. Growth. Independence.
We talked about trees growing apart earlier, which sounded a bit sad. But growing is still growing, right?
Exactly. A healthy relationship should be two strong individuals choosing to be together, not two halves trying to make a whole. Sometimes when we are too close, we lean on each other way too much. We become codependent. We forget how to stand on our own 2 feet.
We use the other person as a crutch.
We do. Distance kicks the crutch away. It forces you to be independent. You have to handle the flat tire yourself. You have to handle your bad day at work yourself. You have to build your own local social circle. You have to find your own happiness.
And that makes you stronger.
It makes you a much more complete person. And when two complete, strong, independent people come back together, that is a very powerful union. It is a partnership of choice, not a necessity. You are together because you want to be, not because you desperately need someone to kill the spiders in the bathroom.
So the distance might actually make the foundation stronger, even if it feels like it is shaking the walls in the moment.
Precisely. If the foundation is good, the distance will reveal that strength. It clears away the clutter and shows you what is really there underneath. It is a trial by fire, but gold comes out of the fire pure.
I like that. I really like that. It feels hopeful. It transforms the suffering into something genuinely productive.
It is hopeful. It is work. Make no mistake, it is incredibly hard work, but it is hopeful work.
So we have been sitting here in the Curious Room for a while now. The light is getting a little lower. We have looked at the empty chair. We have listened to the delayed melody of the duet. We have felt the frustration of the update trap and the fear of the highlight reel. But we have also seen the clarity. We have seen the painting from a distance.
We have traveled a very long way without moving from our chairs.
Let us summarize this journey for the listener, just to hold it all together in our hands before we leave the room today.
We learned that distance isn't just miles. It is the loss of the micro-interactions, the coffee, the looks, the shared comfortable silence. It changes the way we talk, turning vibrant experiences into dry police reports. It changes us individually as we grow in different gardens or contexts.
But it also clears the fog and makes us truly value presence. It forces us to grow up in a way. It reveals the core of the bond we share.
It does. It strips the relationship down to its bare bones.
Yeah.
And if the bones are strong, the relationship survives and thrives.
Before we go, I want to leave the listener with one final thought to mull over. Something a little provocative, a different image to take with them.
I have been thinking about bridges.
Bridges.
Yes. We often talk about distance as a void, a chasm, something empty that separates us. But I want you to think about the distance not as an empty space, but as a bridge.
Okay, tell me more about that.
A bridge is a structure. It connects two sides.
Hmm.
But a bridge is also long. It is exposed to the wind. It is exposed to the elements. It requires constant maintenance. You have to paint it. You have to check the bolts. You have to actively work on it.
It is an active thing?
It is active. But the bridge itself, it is not a barrier. It is a connection. The distance itself is the connection.
So the distance isn't the wall. The distance is the thing holding us together.
In a way, yes. The effort you put into crossing that distance, the effort you put into the calls, the letters, the thoughts, the immense patience, that is the relationship. That is the bridge. Maybe the distance isn't changing the relationship for the worse. Maybe it is simply revealing exactly how strong the bridge really is. If the bridge holds, it can weather any storm.
That is a lovely way to look at it. The distance is the bridge, and we are the ones walking across it, meeting in the middle.
Exactly. Every text is a plank in that bridge. Every call is a bolt. You are building it every single day.
Well, I think that is a perfect place to pause. Thank you, truly, for coming into the Curious Room and sitting with us today.
It was a pleasure. It was a very good space to think.
And to you listening, thank you for being here. Thank you for visualizing that person. If you can, maybe reach out to them today. But don't give them a report. Don't give them the bullet points of your day. Just tell them something small. Tell them about the coffee. Tell them about the weird cloud you saw. Share a tiny moment.
Share the silence.
Yes. Share the silence. Until next time, stay curious.
Goodbye.